Okay, folks, it's your buddy Big George Foreman is the topic of Mike's Instant Movie Review, the cinematic film. Some actors I didn't recognize. The gentleman, his first name was Chris, I believe with a K-H-R-I-S spelling, who played Big George himself. Thought he did a great job. Years ago, I read By George, I think was the title of an autobiography by George Foreman. So that was quite some time ago I read that book. Actually read it too. It wasn't a autobiography, audible, audio. It was a good old-fashioned book with typed words on actual paper, believe it or not. So I knew a lot of the George story, but I forgot quite a bit of it. I remember in his book, George told an incident about the only time he ever got high in his life. He smelled a gas cap and got a bit of a high, but he said he stayed away from drugs and alcohol the rest of his life. I forgot a lot of stuff. Now, should you go see this movie or not? I think you should. I think it's a good movie for the whole family. You don't have to be a boxing fan or a preacher fan to enjoy it. In case you don't know, and some people don't, because some people don't follow sports, they don't follow boxing, they don't follow this, they don't follow that. So in case you don't know these things, George Foreman was an Olympic gold medalist. He came from a modest background. He defeated Joe Frazier for the heavyweight title of the world. I believe Joe Frazier was fresh off a victory over the one and only Muhammad Ali. This was in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. In turn, George, who was still a very young man at this time, I think 24, 25 years old, he went ahead and he lost the world championship in a famous fight, I believe in Zaire or the Congo. Was that one, the Rumble in the Jungle? I get some of these mixed up. The Thrilla in Manila, the Rumble in the Jungle, all these different fights. But he lost the rope-a-dope fight to Muhammad Ali, which I believe started, I want to say Muhammad Ali's second title reign. Of course, Ali was coming off of 4 years of suspension because he wouldn't go into the army to kill the yellow man, Bruce Springsteen. So we come to this. We come to all these things happen to Big George. He left boxing. I thought, see, this is these things that you get cleared up because of books and movies. I, for a long time, thought that he lost to Ali and then he was done for 20 years. It's not true. Apparently, he had this exhibition evening where he beat up 5 tomato cans, bums, as they say. And then he fought and lost a decision. I guess I'm spoiling the fucking thing, to Jimmy Young. And then he fucking retired for 20 years after he found Jesus in his heart. The guy that played Muhammad Ali, by the way, I thought was excellent. I cannot recall his name either. He was vaguely familiar, but I just thought he was really great as Muhammad Ali. A lot of times we see these movies and Muhammad Ali is the protagonist. Of course, Will Smith played Muhammad Ali in Ali. I believe my buddy Marno Van Peebles, who I had a scene with and who directed me in the 2006 film Hard Luck, I believe Mario played Muhammad Ali in Malcolm X, or some such thing. Mario played Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. My mistake. But a lot of great actors have played Muhammad Ali throughout the years. But I thought this guy had a really fresh take on Muhammad that really captured the glibness, the trash talking, but also at a very sentimental poolside scene, kind of the softer side of Muhammad Ali. So tip of the little fucking hat to that as a supporting role. Once again, the guy holding down the fort, Chris, whatever his last name, did a great job. I forgot that Big George had 2 wives in his life. The first one, which sired him, I guess, a daughter, and then the second one, which sired him, if that's the right term. Does the man sire or does the woman sire? But she birthed him I believe, a total of 5 sons who all had variants of the theme of the name George. So on and so forth, so on and so forth. What I liked especially as a boxing aficionado, and I could run some other boxing films through the fucking dirt, but out of respect to those that made those films, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But a lot of boxing films, a lot of sports films, a lot of films in general feel the need to condense and to squeeze in, like basically to take details and kind of condense them in order for dramatic effect. I could really destroy a film here by telling you about what a film that I know that did that. It happened to be a boxing movie, but out of respect, I will not, because this movie does not do that. What I liked about this George Foreman movie is that I really was concerned on some level, not that it would keep me up at fucking night, that the Evander Holyfield fight in 1990, I believe. 1990, I believe. It was either 90 or 91. It must have been 91 that George Foreman actually got a title shot in his comeback against Evander Holyfield and came up short, lost a very lopsided decision, but impressed everybody that he went 12 rounds with this guy that was like 20 years younger than him. I hate the word like. But basically, they did not mention that fight. And what they did, which was interesting, is they actually didn't reenact that fight because the budget. They reenacted a lot of the Ali fights. They reenacted the Michael Moore fight. They reenacted the Olympic fight. But for the fucking Holyfield, they gave themselves a financial break and they just did CGI of the actual real fight from 1991, and they superimposed this actor's head onto the real George Foreman's fucking head, which, if you weren't an aficionado like myself, you may not know the fucking difference, but I fucking caught that that's what they did. And the CGI was pretty good. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good for that. I'm having hair issues. If anyone has a solution, I am not wearing a hat for the rest of my life, but I'm a little... this is the year that my fucking hair decided to go on vacation before I did, okay? So any goddamned way, I thought it was a great movie. For a sports fan like myself, a George Foreman fan like myself, it checked all the fucking boxes. It actually exceeded my expectations. I mean, I expected it to be good, but I was kind of thinking it would be kind of cliche, just another sports fucking autobiography. I liked the movie a couple of weeks ago, Sweetwater, about the basketball player, one of the first 3 black or African American players in the NBA. Actually, the guy Sweetwater should have been the first on his own, but they screwed him a little bit, which is interesting. So that was a good movie. I did a Mike's Instant movie review on that. But that movie, I think, was kind of in that typical, cliche sports movie. And this one, the George Foreman, a tinge. I mean, but the thing is, like I said in a previous, I think I said in the Sweetwater review, if a movie is depicting things in an autobiographical movie that you've seen in other movies, doesn't it just reinforce the fact that these elements are true? So once again, I mean, the elements of bullying. They really didn't get into the racism stuff in this movie. It was more about classism with Big George because of the poverty he was born into. So there really wasn't much of a racist incident. I don't think there was any real racism in this movie, unless I'm forgetting something. But there was definitely sizeism, which I can relate to as a man of stature myself. People sometimes are in fear of gentlemen like myself and George Foreman, who have a large commanding presence in a room. So I can, empathize with Big George. And you always have assholes calling you big guy and stupid shit like that. Because normally they're just insecure about their own lack of size, okay? So any fucking way. I thought this movie was very good. The crowd and the audience, this is fucking bargain night here. This is fucking Tuesday. It goes back to my childhood. Tuesday used to be dollar fucking night. Now it's $6 night. Not bad. So Tuesday nights here at this Cinemark in Jacksonville, Florida is $6 for a ticket. I bought a ticket in the back left corner, which is my go-to destination for these things, now that you have to reserve your seat. And I get into the fucking theater about 7 or 8 minutes, past start time, because I know that the previews go on for 15 or 20 minutes, and I get in there, and pretty much the whole fucking theater's full of assholes, including my seat was empty, but there was fuckers right next to it. So I'm like, I'm not going to go sit next to some asshole that I don't know. So I sat, there was nobody in the handicapped seats up front. There was no one in the handicapped, friend seats. So I was a friend of the handicapped people that were invisible tonight, meaning they were none there. Not that they're not welcome. They certainly are. They have a whole free section to themselves. Maybe not free, but you know what I mean. So I sat there in literally the third row of seats. So you have like 2 asshole rows up front, and then you have like a 4 or 5 feet of aisle, and then you have the handicap row. So I was sitting in the middle of the handicap row, which was good because then I wasn't with the marks, the humanoids, the 9-to-5ers, the meat packers behind me. I had a whole nice handicap row to myself. I took off my shoes. I put my wallet and my belongings on the empty seat next to me. I had to facilitate one time in the movie, so I was able to do so and quickly get back to my seat. So everything worked out fine and dandy for your friend, okay? So what the fuck? I probably give this a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, the reason why I'm trying to be a little more, what's the word? Just not as free with my praise these days with these movies. So I won't give it a 5-star, but I'll give it a 4.5 star. And the only reason why I'm not giving it a 5-star is because it's not a movie that's going to change the game of filmmaking. Like, this is not Citizen Kane. This is not fucking whatever the fuck. This is not a movie that's, you're going to say, oh my God, before George Foreman and after fucking George Foreman movie, things were so much different. It's not trying to be that. It's trying to be a true tale of an American hero, an American icon, if you would. They could have gotten into the George Foreman grill a little bit more. They did do this barbecue commercial thing, but look, they really put a lot of stuff in this movie. The Olympics, I think that whoever wrote this script or whoever, if there was an editing team behind the script, they deserve, I get to do it now, a tip of the fucking hat. I literally get to tip my hat because I'm wearing a hat. I've been tipping my fucking finger on my forehead for fucking weeks now. But I get to tip my fucking hat to whoever wrote this script, whoever edited this script. I think they did a wonderful job of getting us to the points and not skimping out on stuff. But at the same time, you didn't have to have a training montage between every fucking fight. And we're an educated audience at this point. And we can get to things, you know what I mean? We can understand things. Someone's texting me now with vital information. But we can get to things. We can understand things as an educated audience. We don't need to be spoon-fed every fight fucking sequence. Interesting. I forgot, like I said, in the book, I forgot George had 2 wives in his life. He did not try to reconcile with wife number 1 once he cheated on her with women, promiscuous women, ring rats, as they call them in the wrestling business. I don't know what they call them in the boxing business. But basically, George just got himself a new wife. And it does prove this. I mean, the first wife was willing to stick with him even after he cheated on her with all these harlots. But, women, not to put people into generalizations, but I will. Women, they don't go along with you for the ride. They stand at the finish line and fuck the winners, okay? So that's what we know. Gee whiz. You say the truth, you drop your phone, okay? So, these women that George cheats on and all these other things, but because he's got the money, because he's an Olympic champion, they don't care. You know what I mean? All the fucking chickens want the same rooster. You know what I mean? So cockle-doodle-doo to that. Oh boy. So I'm getting upset. But in any fucking event, this is my goddamn fucking car umbrella, which is stuck in the fucking window now, okay? That's it, folks. Buy my goddamn book, Fight or Play Basketball. If you love boxing, if you happen to catch this review and you're saying, well, gee whiz, who's this asshole? You should read my fucking novel, Fight or Play Basketball. About it's boxing, okay? That the fight is referencing boxing. You know, it sounds better than boxing or basketball, okay? I don't want to be too on the nose, all right? So you look up Fight or Play Basketball. The character of Sweet Sugar Brown is actually inspired in part, not fully, but in part by good old George Foreman. Wonderful novel for coming-of-age youth readers and for readers of all ages. The passion of boxing, the fucking beauty of basketball, all in one goddamn novel that I fucking wrote. What else? A Distance from Avalon, my wonderful paintings for sale, my MikeMessier.com, all the goddamn things that I do. If you want to see my fucking short films, long films, medium-sized films, go to One Man and a Camera Films on YouTube, One Man and a Camera Films on YouTube. If you like pro wrestling, if you like sports, go to One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan for my third and final YouTube channel. I mean, God, I'm just providing you assholes so much free entertainment, okay? Yeah, so buy a goddamn book, click on some fucking things, share these fucking URLs. I'm doing all this work. What are you doing for me? I mean, that's the goddamned question, okay? So that's it, folks. Have a wonderful fucking evening. Big George Foreman, 4.5 out of 5 stars, MikeMessier.com.